I think that's recording. Hello. Hello. It's Sunday. I'm going to do some drawing. It's been a strange few days. Let me just get rid of this. Escape. Close that. Let's just make this full screen. There we go. Yeah, it's been a funny few days. I went to see Alien the other day, and it's inspired me to draw a new cartoon. So today's cartoon is going to be an Alien themed cartoon. So I didn't have to get let me just open up on my other computer, other screen. I need a picture of an alien to see what I'm drawing. I've already done the text. Alien Romulus. Oh, bad film. So I'll talk about that in a minute. Let me just get this started. Let me just see how I'm gonna. Obviously, I'm just gonna block in some characters and. Yeah, it was a real disappointment of a film. It was. So I'm just trying to figure out how you draw an alien, but yeah, it was a pretty disappointing film. I'm a big fan of Alien movies. Always have been. Love the original. I was of the generation who was brought up on Ridley Scott films, Blade Runner. The Duelists, Black Rain. I was never a fan of Gladiator. I always thought Gladiator was a problematic movie because of the I think it was the death of Oliver Reed. I think probably affected how it. I think they had to rewrite it, and I think it might have kind of made the film disjointed or whatever. So I was never a fan of that. Like Kingdom of Heaven, but although I watched the director's cut recently, and I found it was extremely long and rather boring. And I didn't like Napoleon. I thought Napoleon was a terrible film. So yeah, in this panel here, I just want the two aliens kind of looking down. Kind of as though they're looking down on some characters down here. Yeah, so I've been a bit hit and miss about Ridley Scott in recent years. I'm not one of the people who really hated the Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Prometheus films. I quite like them, although I think the first one was the better one. With the French actress in, who was previously in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I forget her name, but she was really good in the first one. And although it wasn't really an alien film, in the sense that we didn't really see aliens, I did actually prefer that one to the second one, which I can't remember very well at all. But they had the character of David in them, and I think at the end of the second one, David was heading back to his world, or was it Earth? It was set up for an interesting sequel, which we never got to see. So yeah, it was. I don't know how aliens run. Oh God, I'll just draw them in and figure that out afterwards. Some bullets coming in. Yeah, would have much rather have seen them make a sequel to the newer Alien films than this one, which I just really didn't like. I thought it was pretty cynical, poorly written, with some surprisingly bad special effects. They CGI'd one of the characters, and it was one of those situations where they tried to resurrect a character. I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but they tried to resurrect an old character from a film, and the digital work done on his face just didn't work. I'm just wondering how I feel. I need to have a third character in here, and I don't know whether to have them. Maybe there. Yeah. Just didn't work. It was very poorly written, and they played around with too much of the. I think when you're writing for a film which is based on an established franchise, especially a much loved franchise like Alien, you should respect the original material, and this film just didn't do that. I mean, at one point, one of the characters gets the old face hugger on the face, and we know from the previous films, we know what's involved. You know, you get the face hugger, you get dragged off, or you go into a kind of well, in Aliens they were in like an underground hive, so you know the mature aliens drag off the victims, things get impregnated into the chest or whatever. Time passes, and if you can catch them soon enough, you kill them before the alien appears. Chestburster appears, you know, which, you know, that's pretty established now by you know, we've had enough Alien films, so we know what the gestation period of a facehugger is. But in this film, they had a character. She gets the facehugger attached. Somebody helps her to escape onto the spacecraft. Kind of time which had probably passed was probably only in like minutes. And the next minute, she's got the thing bursting out of her chest. She's like literally in there. You know, it's not even like, you know, film time is, you know, we're watching it in the real time, like 5 minutes has passed, but in the movie 2 days has passed. It wasn't a situation where, you know, 2 days later. It was literally as it was happening, real time, almost real time. And next minute we know that the chestburster is out, which is, you know, that's bad enough. But then chase it down a corridor. A few minutes later, you find a little bit of skin from the chestburst. It's the chestburster, or whatever. I think there's a phrase. And the thing's grown into the fully grown xenomorph, huge 7 foot high, 8 foot high alien creature within another 5 minutes. It was just ridiculous. And then we come to the actors. The lead actress, she was decent in the sort of Sigourney Weaver role, but it was a kind of cynical casting where, you know, they've just chosen people because they're going to be appealing to a certain demographic of teenage girls, probably. You know, the handsome Gen Zer. You know, they had one who was English, so he was obviously saying words like twat and arsehole all the time, and it was just really, really cynical. Very, very dull characters. You had no attachment to them. Zero depth, zero likability, and just an awful movie. One of the most disappointing movies I've seen. The problem is I've seen a few bad movies in the last year or so, and in the last few months, and this year has been a total yeah, it's becoming a bit of a disappointment with films. I don't know whether it's down to the writer's strike and we're still witnessing the aftermath of the writer's strike and a sparsity of decent films, but yeah, it was awful. It was dire, much worse than I expected, and my expectations were pretty low. So yeah, so that's why I'm drawing this cartoon, which is it's going to be an alien themed cartoon, hopefully. Oops. Oh God. It is Sunday, isn't it? I had yesterday off and completely. I feel more tired after having a day off than I do when I actually am. I'm really busy. Let's have a look at that. Okay. I don't know, Jeremy's dead. That probably needs narrowing a bit. Yeah. Another thing happened at the cinema, which was the film started 20 minutes early. Cineworld's got this habit of they give you a ticket, and the ticket time in this instance was 2:20, so you, based on long experience with Cineworld, you know that means half an hour of adverts and trailers. So it's a little bit crazy getting there for 2:20. Although I'm a total neurotic and I always get there for 2:20. But most people don't get there for 2:20. Most people get there 2:50, ready for a 10:00 start. The film started at 30:30. When I got there at 20:20, the trailers had already started, which is not ideal. People were still turning up at 2:45 and 10:10, and they'd missed 20 minutes of the film, which was really, really strange. At the end, I actually went and asked somebody, and apparently the server they used for their adverts had crashed, which meant they had no adverts to show during the before the trailers, so they just went straight to trailers. But it's pretty unfair of them to have basically just decided to start the film at 20 minutes early. The only good thing I can say is that it really was a bad film. I don't think anybody really missed much in those first 20 minutes. It's the kind of film where the first 20 minutes were just slow, tedious I would say character development, but it's not. That's a little bit of an overstatement. I think maybe if you weren't such a fan of alien movies, and I am a bit of a fan of. I love good sci-fi. I am a fan of alien movies, and although I had trepidations about this one, it looked better than it did in the trailers, which had made it look like it looked too clean, it looked like a TV movie. But it looked much better than I expected, and it had some decent space scenes in it. Although the science was a little bit questionable. I think Mark Commode had pointed out things like spacecraft in space when they don't decelerate when you take your foot off the accelerator, and just silly little things like that. There was a whole bit of drama about crashing into the asteroid ring outside, like a planet. It looked a bit like Saturn. Do they have it? I don't even know what those rings are called. There must be a technical term for them. But the kind of ring, like a ring like Saturn, is it? And in this film, it was spinning around like it was a high-powered grinding disc or something. Anything like crashes into it would immediately get ground up. I mean, yeah, just horrific science, and yeah, just a total disappointment. Maybe it's just like an age thing where you expect better things, but it felt more like the way that you imagine Disney would treat a franchise after purchasing it. It was definitely in the Disney Star Wars mold. I pretty much lost interest in Star Wars since Disney took over. I know they don't care about viewers like me, but I don't demand, highly intellectual films, but I like my films. I suppose I like a bit of mid-brow, something a bit mid-brow. I want it to be entertaining, but at the same time, I hate it being too dumb. And this was just insulting to the intelligence. And it was insulting to the original movies as well, I think. I'm not sure. These characters, I'm trying to sort of draw them as though they're kind of hanging from the ceiling. Never had to draw an alien before, so I don't quite know how it all hangs together. Kind of looks okay, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know what the next film. I want to go and see Beetlejuice. I assume Beetlejuice is coming out is it next week? I've got higher hopes for Beetlejuice. The last Tim Burton film I think I saw was what's that, Miss whatever her face is, Home for Peculiar Children, which I really enjoyed. Partly because it was set in Blackpool, which was interesting seeing Tim Burton making a movie about Blackpool, but yeah. I don't think I've ever seen a bad Tim Burton movie. Big Fish was good, I think. Some of my favourite movies are Tim Burton movies. Edward Scissorhands. I even like Mars Attacks. Yeah, I was always a big Tim Burton fan, and the original Beetlejuice is just fantastic. I wasn't too sure about Michael Keaton coming back as Beetlejuice, but the strange thing about it is, obviously, given his I don't quite know how these. Yeah, let's just do it like that for the moment. Because he was obviously heavily in character and played a rotting corpse in the original, he can still play a believable rotting corpse. He doesn't look like he's aged at all, because they'd obviously aged him to play the original Beetlejuice. Yeah, this is where it's difficult, because I don't quite know how aliens stand. I was watching a little clip somebody had posted to Twitter earlier of Alien 3, where they'd actually dressed up a dog as the alien trying to find a way to create a kind of a running alien. So it was quite hilarious. I can begin to see the problem. I'm not sure how an alien would run. You would have thought they would have had the reverse bending legs, but because it was just played by a big guy in a big suit. It is pretty much just a human form, but lots of those Geigerish tubes and orifices and whatever. I'll probably do. Obviously, I'm still working this picture out as I'm drawing it. Yeah, so the point of this cartoon I'm rewriting Alien Romulus as though it's from the point of view of the aliens who have had the ship infestated by a load of Generation Z nomorphs. Xenomorphs, it depends whether you say Z or Z, but xenomorphs, Generation Z. I like that pun, I like that joke. They're going to get rid of them by running blindly in the hope that the gunfire makes them flee. Aliens are so dumb in those films. And then it's just going to talk about one of the elements of the film, which again was one of the problems I always had with the film Aliens. And then Alien 3 did it as well, and I always felt... Actually, I think it was Alien 3 which did it more. Although I'm a fan of Fincher's movie, and I think it's much better than people say. I hated the treatment of Newt. If you're going to spend and invest time watching Aliens and the rescue of Newt, then I think it's a little bit rough to sort of start Alien 3 with, by the way, oh yeah, she just died in obviously there's spoilers in this, but you know, she died in cryo sleep. Not a fan of that that methodology, that method of rewriting this film to completely undercut the previous. I mean, as much as I'm a fan of Alien 3 and Fincher in general, yeah, it's not as good as Aliens. But yeah. And that's what this film does. There was an element of it where it was a case of whatever you thought, however you thought the last film ended. And in this case, it's actually set before Aliens, so it's a bit of a continuation, if you want, from the original Alien. Forget that, you know. You're now going to rewrite it. Change what we thought of that ending, and yeah, I'm not at all a fan of that. I mean, I like it if it's done intelligently, but the flaw in this film is it was just dumb, just immensely dumb. Trying to figure out lengths of legs here. I'll probably do. What's that now? Yeah. It's quite funny actually. I keep seeing Alien trending on Twitter, so I obviously clicked the link. And if it just doesn't immediately load a load of porn, because Twitter's trends these days just seem to be completely screwed up because of Musk doesn't clamp down on the things he should clamp down, and clamps down on things, well, anyway. But yeah, people were talking about this movie. It seems to have been really well received, but I don't understand why I hate it so much. Other people also hated it, and I respect their opinions more than I respect the opinions of random people random people on Twitter. I suspect there's going to be more of them because it's probably done well at the box office. Although I think that could also be down to the a bit of a lack of decent movies at the moment. Yeah, the beauty of using a tablet is, it's like, for example, this character is going to be sort of kneeling behind that one, so I'll just draw it up here as if he's does it matter whether they can kneel? Yeah, I think there's going to be obviously more than Alien movies, and Ridley Scott's become a bit more of a producer lately. But I think it comes down to the quality of the director and obviously the quality of the script. I was a big fan of the Blade Runner sequel. Villeneuve is obviously a totally different class of director to the people who made Romulus. Even thinking about it now, I can't quite sum up how bad it was. Yeah, you just can't make up for an absence of talent. And what's really disappointing about it is, obviously, it's a much loved franchise, but it's much loved among directors. And there are other directors, better directors, who'd been crying out to make a version of Alien. Neil Blomkamp, I don't know how you pronounce his name, but the guy who made Elysium and District. Oh, I always get the title wrong because there's a French parkour film with a similar title. District 9, I think it is. I might be wrong. It could be District 14, but there is another. I don't know, why is that not? What's going on here? Why is that not? Oh, because that one has got to be under that menu. Yeah, that's got to be under there. And that one's got to be there because he'd been desperate to make a version. Instead, he's making crap like I shouldn't say crap, but he's making films like the Gran Turismo movie, which is different to the Clint Eastwood film Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo. The Gran Turismo movie, which is based on the PlayStation game. And because I'm a fan of his work, I actually went to see it, and it's actually a pretty decent movie, but it's not up with his other stuff. I even like Chappie, the film he did with the Antwerp folk. That was a really decent film. Also with Sigourney Weaver. Mind you, I'll watch anything with Sigourney Weaver. I'm a big fan of Sigourney's. That was a decent film. And he really wanted to make an Alien movie, apparently. And he never got a chance. Instead, we got this utter rubbish. Yeah. Which started early, so people missed the beginning of it, and I was a bit bored once I finished eating. I'm trying to think if there's any other elements of it worth reporting, but no. Probably decent if you don't go into it with high expectations, and I probably don't even know much about Alien movies. I'm going to do another character in the background now. getting torn apart with let me think. Let's do. Okay. Got that completely wrong. Let's try this again. Nope. Let's think about how it kind of more like. God, this is so bad. Let me just sketch out the basic. Let me think. How are you? I'm trying to kind of add a bit of oh, I wish I was a real artist. I watched a video today on YouTube about art restoration, which fascinates me. But my God, those people they claim not to be artists, but my God, they're skilled. The people who, you've got to be an artist to tinker around with original paintings. And in this case, it was one where the face had been gone missing from an old reproduction of some I think it was probably an 18th century painting, and they had to replace it. And fascinating to see how they did it, but I always feel I wish I had those kinds of skills, but if I did, I don't know if it'd ever really work for something. The kind of things I enjoy drawing. These alien heads are a bit strange because they kind of have seem to have more like a. I've got to remember to do these tubes on the back as well. I'm just sticking these on any layer. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to merge those 3 layers now. There's no need to keep them all separate. Yeah. I'll start drawing a little bit of some of these faces a little bit better. Feels like I've seen quite a few poor films at the cinema this year. I saw the new Emma Stone movie, which I mean, it's probably the only kind of remotely interesting film I've seen. No, that's wrong. I saw the Western starring. Oh God, I can never say his name. The guy who played Strider in Lord of the Rings, Arathorn, son of Aragorn, or was it Aragorn, son of Arathorn, whatever it was. And that was decent. That was a good film. I'm trying to remember the title of. It's not Everything All at Once About Everything, whatever the hell that was called. But it was decent. It was a strange series of 3 short stories, but it was about a 3-hour film. Very, very long for what it was. Probably would have made a better TV show. I didn't like Deadpool at all. Having enjoyed the first 2 Deadpools, it was a bit too. It's weird to say actually, because I was going to say I'd agree with the criticism if people said it was too much into the in-jokes about Disney's ownership of Marvel or Marvel. Does Disney own Marvel? Whatever, I don't know how. I think Disney does own Marvel. But I quite like that bit. I don't find Ryan Reynolds' character that annoying. But I think where it failed was in the actual superhero story. It was just long and rambling. ridiculous, just a ridiculous film. It's been written by the plot had been written by AI. Although I'm beginning to wonder if AI would do such a bad job, but yeah, really in the end, all it came down to was 2 hours of Ryan Reynolds making the kind of jokes which seem inappropriate in a Disney movie. Yeah, boring film. Really, really boring film. I'm trying to imagine how do I capture the amazing hair in these people. I'm trying to catch that sort of deliberate, cool kind of sloppiness that they have. Try again in this one. Yeah, I'm a huge film fan, but I've been really put off films lately. Last good film I saw was by Wim Wenders, yeah, the Salt of the Earth, which is a documentary about a photographer. In fact, it was so good I immediately went online and see it. So if I could buy a signed book by this photographer, whose books are always insanely expensive, but I thought maybe I might find a bargain, and every single copy of the book was 200 quid, cheapest 170 quid for which is astronomical. Yet also not ridiculous for photography books, because even when they're new, unsigned, they give me 100 quid. But I saw a copy of one book of his for 5 quid, and the photograph on it showed his signature, and it said signed. So it was on Abe. So I thought I'll take a gamble, and I sent for it. It took ages for it to arrive, because it was by the Yodel. They were saying it was going to arrive one day, and it didn't, and then the next day, and it finally turned up about nearly 10 o'clock at night, and it was unsigned. They'd basically just used the stock photograph they'd used had been taken from a listing for a signed edition. So it was a decent copy of the book, but it's not a book I would have bought. He's known for his documentary style photography, and especially big landscapes, nature, and I'm trying to think how a rifle would look. Try to give it some kind of rifle lines. Yeah, it's a nice copy of a book, but it was a book of portraits of kids, and I'm not actually interested in any kind of portraiture, really. I own a couple of Annie Leibowitz's books, signed. But generally, I'm not a fan of. I'm not that interested in portrait photography. I've come across a few Lee Freelander books recently that were on offer, but they were always his portraits, and he's a photographer I'd quite like to collect, but again, not I like street photography, really. How's this looking now? Let's see if I can get another. I'm trying to make it look a bit futuristic, but I'm not sure I'm going to achieve that. when in doubt, just make everything like boxy. Don't know sure how I got. Oh, good films I've seen recently. Yeah, and that was the last really decent film I've seen. And then Alien has just put me off wanting to go and see more films. I'm just trying to figure out where the thumb would come. It's on the other side there. So it's kind of there. If you can see it at all. I don't know if I can fit in more somebody else there. Like the lead character, the couple of leads, the guy playing the android character was pretty good as well. But, somebody pointed out that the lead girl looked more like she could play Ellie in Last of Us, which was true. She was a spitting image of her. Wasn't really a Sigourney character, although again they desperately tried to make her appear like just copying constantly all the shots from the original movie. And even at one point, some of the dialogue, which made absolutely no sense. I mean, it was obviously a cheap attempt to, reference the other films, but you're just sitting there thinking to yourself, how would these characters know what some unknown character to them had said at a pivotal moment of an alien's demise? I can't remember any of the outfits they were wearing, so I'm just going for some generic looks. I don't know how interesting it is watching somebody draw, especially when they can't draw as poorly as I do. Yeah, quite like that. That's looking fairly decent. Quite pleased with this. Probably going to give it I need to give it a caption at the top to explain it, because these anxious blob cartoons, I did wonder whether they were going to be all about one character, but I think they're just going to be I'm the anxious blob. Yeah. Still on my chocolate flavoured coffee. How's that looking? I did actually finish my previous cartoon. I should show you actually. I've got it open here. There we go. That was the cartoon. Let me check that the streaming's still going. Yeah, this is the cartoon I finished. As there was some space down here, so I added a girl screaming. I did that in a coffee shop the other day. And then I just basically filled in the back with a little bit of cheap background material. Added a face there. I mean, decent. I like this one more. This I'm liking these faces here. In fact, I'm going to add another one. I think we're making taller, a longer face. The thing I thought where they'd gone a little bit wrong with the film was they should really have, because they were targeting it obviously to a demographic of teenagers, they did make every character other than one returning character from previous films, they made them all the same age. And I don't know what the ages were in the original Blade Runner Alien film, but I'm sure they had to be. It felt different. Harry Dean Stanton felt significantly older, as did what was the name of the guy? Was it Tom Skerritt who played the captain? He seemed older than. I mean, the irony. I don't know what the ages of the actors were in Alien. Maybe they felt significantly older. They were more world weary and which I thought made it a little bit just made it interesting. These characters just not sure how well it. I was thinking about am I doing this character as a male or female? I think I'm going to change her. Kind of imply she was. Yeah, don't like. Hating all of this here. Don't quite know what I'm doing with this character. I think about it. Yeah, the cast weren't grizzled enough. They were just. It was a bit like watching Hollyoaks in space. It was a bit too much of I'd say relationships, but there's nothing wrong with having that kind of stuff in a film. It helps your attachment to the characters, but it just wasn't believable. It just wasn't believable. I think we're going to make him a guy, although let's just make him a guy. Okay, I'm quite liking all that. I'm just going to draw in these alien hands now, which need to be destroying taking out the border between the frames. I always quite like doing this. In fact, I'm going to delete all that and then just start afresh. One of the difficulties of talking whilst drawing is I make some terrible mistakes because my brain is in one place and I'm slowly trying to remember the names of people. The other day I mentioned I love drawing hands, and I think I said I had a book by Arthur Ransom, and I'm pretty sure his name is Arthur Rackham. I've noticed this about when doing podcasts in the past, how when you're having a conversation, you say things, names wrong, or you mispronounce something, and it's shocking when you see it happen, or you come back to edit something and you think, what the hell possessed me to say that? And it gives me a little bit, and this is the only point where I have any sympathy with Donald Trump. It is so easy to misspeak and have everybody, castigate you for the stupid things you might have said. There we go. I think I'd like that finger to go a bit around. No. Actually, I want it the other way. I want the fingers to disappear behind like that. Here we go. That's a bit better. do the same up here. Hang on. Right, so some knuckles. Not sure how many fingers aliens have. I think they have 3, do they? Oh. Yeah, quite like that. I'm going to have a bit of some bullets coming in. And then I want trying to think kind of impact mix. Let's just draw a bit of splatter. It's not too bad. Not sure about the angles here for the bullets. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that as an initial stage of the drawing. Let's merge everything together and see how it looks. Yeah, that's okay. I'm not going to use. I'm actually quite pleased with the initial stages of these drawings. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to work on these. I don't really want to lose some of these lines. It takes me a little bit longer, but I'm in no rush. I quite enjoy the drawing. Did wonder about just doing some of these drawing sessions and actually just shutting up. I've actually drawn an alien there with 4 fingers. I've got to decide have they got 4 fingers or 5 fingers. I have to have a quick look. Oh, on here it suggests they've got 5. Just draw them like humans. Okay. In that case, I can just hint at a 4th finger there. And then up here, I will actually draw in a 4th finger. There we go. Silent drawing sessions, yeah, I don't know whether I don't know even wants to listen to me just sit here randomly talking about alien movies. I'd love to know what other people think of it. Like I say, I've read a couple of people who criticised it, but a lot of the criticism or commentary is just like awesome movie and stuff like that. I actually would like to know what they thought about the it felt more like fan fiction. It wasn't. They didn't bring anything new to the universe. They tried to unite some of the lore from the sequels, Prometheus. I think they even mentioned the myth of Prometheus, the black gloop stuff that was used at the beginning of Prometheus. They explained it away. I think they even explained it away as the reason why the xenomorphs could change so rapidly, but it didn't make any logical sense in terms of the film, because they completely if the alien could gestate within a couple of minutes on will, why then did we still have to have the a section of the film which was involved the whole hanging bodies out? I don't know why that level's not, is it? So I'm like I say, I'm not. I just thought it was a ridiculous film. I feel a little bit sorry for the people involved. I mean, like I said, the lead girl was good, but you know, she must think her career is going to take off because she's been in an alien movie. But I assume people who were in the original Alien sequels all thought they were going to have huge careers, like people who were in the Alien vs Predator and Alien vs Predator 2. I can't even remember who were in those films. But the best thing I can say about this film actually was that it was probably better than Alien vs Predator. The one film I'm not sure about is Alien. What was the one called? The French one, made by the French guy. Alien Rejuvenation, was it? I remember it being a bad movie, but I don't remember enough about it to comment. I certainly couldn't tell you whether this one is as bad as that one. Oh, I was very bored. I hate being bored in movies. Usually because I have a tendency to fall asleep. Anyway. Don't know if any of this design is true to the alien world, but it works for me. I'm gonna have a bit more drool. Can't have enough drool when it comes to aliens. These teeth don't look right, do they? Completely made a mess of the teeth. Let's draw them in again. So I know there's one fang on the outside. And then that'll do. I don't know if they've got pointed teeth. Do they have pointed teeth? I assume they have more pointed teeth like that. That'll do. Here we go. Slightly better. Right. That's looking better. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly draw in some. I need to crosshatch it. I need to make it 7. Just going to draw in the speech boxes. Not bad. Pretty good. Felt okay. I'm not sure how long. I think I can rescue that one. That was awful. Let me rescue this. Here I could actually just use these graphic programs have got built-in speech box generation. Even I think, let me see if I can find it. There you go. I think I can actually just pull a shape and it'll draw the speech box if I wanted. Try that again. See there? I think I need to maybe pen thicker. Delete. Yeah, I think I could do it. How does it work? Like that? No. Yeah, I think they kind of, like I say, there is a way to do that. Let me try it again. Do that, and then I'm just going to get sidetracked by this now, but I've never used it. Yeah, so it does create like a box, does it? Yeah, so it kind of does fills it in for you, connects it all up for you. I don't like using it. I just find it. I mean, some of them are pre. I don't know how you get the little tail. Some of them are pre-done for you, and I just don't generally like it. I like to draw my own because they end up looking like a human's been involved. I don't mind that one so much. I hear my chair squeaking as I draw. Yeah. I'm going to pull these apart. Move the text around. So I don't mind that overlapping there. Let's pull that across again. Oops. Well done. Demolished a bit of my don't quite know. Oh, because it's on the same level, of course. I didn't need to be so accurate there because the text is well away. There we go. Yeah, I don't mind those. Those are pretty good. Pretty good. Another shocking aspect of the Alien movie was the fact it was this Certificate 15, which I think the last Alien. I seem to recollect Alien 3 being a Certificate 15, and I was being a bit disappointed by that. But I remember at the time, I think there must have been some shootings in America, and there was a whole debate about gun culture. And Sigourney Weaver had wanted to make a film that didn't glorify guns in the way that Aliens had done. James Cameron had gone crazy with all those pulse rifles and whatever. So they wrote a script in which there was no guns involved, which was interesting. Like I say, I thought it made a genuinely interesting movie. Hang on, let me think this through. I'm going to move that back up the top, and I'm going to move that to the top level. There we go. Even if it wasn't as horrific as the earlier movies, but it always disappoints me when especially during the school holidays, a Certificate 15 is just asking for trouble. Kids can be such a nuisance in a movie. That's I'd already done that. Here we go, I need to do that character. I might rewrite some of this, but didn't mind this script as it turned out. Can't think of a good name for an alien. I was going to call him Bob, but that's always like Bob and Stan are my standby comedy names. Jeremy was much better. Jeremy is a bit like Nigel. Nigel would have been okay as well. Maybe I'll change it to Nigel. I don't know. Think about names do carry kind of evocative do carry a kind of cultural force simply by the fact that, especially like a name like Nigel, it's hard now not to think of people like Farage or Farage. I like the name Farage, actually. I was thinking about that. Do we start calling him Farage because it sounds so much worse than Farage? And aptly so. Lamb. Sounds like there's a police chase going on out there. Yeah, I'm. Okay, I quite like that. I mean, you write these things for yourself, and I don't give a damn if nobody else likes it. Which is, of course, a total lie. I do care if other people like it. I would love other people to like my stuff. But there's not much you can do if they don't. It's funny, I spend so much of my time I think this last year, I've been a bit like that, looking for a bit of affirmation from people, which I've not got. And it's put me off drawing, it's put me off doing anything. And doing these now is probably my attempt to work through that a little bit. But no matter how much you lie, you do want people to like your stuff, especially people you like. You know, it matters. And if people don't like your stuff, then that's heartbreaking. Years ago, I was doing my books, my Stan Madley books, and I'd been doing quite a lot of photoshopping. I got a slight reputation for my photoshops. I've been nominated for an award, a couple of awards actually, which I never won. They were always won by people who had those kinds of websites where it was like, come and vote for us, and you know, I was never going to beat that kind of if it had been voted on by experts, I might have stood a chance, but not the public. Public votes just basically go to whoever's got the most viewers, and it's the way of the world that often those people are the celebrities or whatever. But yeah, I was nominated for the odd award. But I was doing my Stan Madley book, and obviously getting into the I'd always enjoyed cartoons, and I'd only just started to learn how to draw. And I was pretty poor. What do you mean? Yeah, I know. I've improved a lot since then, yeah. Insert insults here, but yeah, I have actually improved a bit. I couldn't have done any of this years ago. And I was going to do a new book, a new Stan Madley book. And why is that not? Oh, because it's part of that, of course. And I wrote letters to various people. Most of them Hollywood stars, actually, because the whole point of the second book was going to be me writing to people in Hollywood. And I'd got a lot of success from writing to people in Hollywood. I got letters from Shirley MacLaine, Bob Newhart had sent me a wonderful letter. Great Bob Newhart. Don Rickles. David Hyde Pierce. Martin Sheen of Apocalypse Now fame sent me a great letter and sent me a bag of whistles, which was contextual to the letters I'd sent. I wrote a few letters to two people I got into not a regular correspondence, but certainly a back and two, as in I wrote to them, they replied, I replied, they replied again. I never usually pursued it beyond that stage because I figured I'd just annoy them. But two people who did get into a kind of semi thing with was Alan Alda and Roman Polanski, which caused controversy to people who were following me at the time that I would be corresponding with Roman Polanski. But anyway, so I was writing this book about Hollywood, And I was also like learning to draw cartoons because I did like the idea of putting cartoons in with some of my letters if I could draw them. But I couldn't, I was a terrible cartoonist. But I did a couple of cartoons and sent them to my heroes. And two of them replied. Actually, more than two, but the ones who I'd sent pictures to did reply. One was Robert Crumb, who actually redrew my cartoon for me in his style. Now one of my most treasured possessions. And the other person to reply was Ronald Searle. He was like just next. I mean, Ronald Searle is just like God in cartooning to me. And I sent him this cartoon, which I'd actually got it published in The Guardian. Not like paid for, but you know, some competition where send us your cartoons and we might publish them as part of this contest. I'd actually won one of the contests, actually. I won a contest to draw a football cartoon, and I won a copy of Roy of the Rovers, which I still own somewhere. But it was one of my, might be my only success I've ever had with cartooning, my Roy of the Rovers thing. But anyway, Robert Crumb replied, and Ronald Searle replied. And Ronald Searle's reply at the time was, actually I need to set this story up. I was writing a book as Stan Madley, and I was telling people that I was the UK's top Richard Madley lookalike, and I was I worked in cabaret where I threw chisels for a living. Like I was a chisel thrower, like a knife thrower, but with chisels. Sounds funny. And he replied to me, and having sent him a cartoon, he said something like, "I'm glad you got a second career as a chisel thrower because a life in illustration would be very hard for you," or something like this. And it was like, yeah, Ronald Searle tells me to give up. Don't pursue drawing as a career. And obviously he was absolutely right. It's been proved right. I've only had one commission in my life. It was a good commission. It was from the band Sparks. I did some work for them once. But yeah. So I do cherish it when people are like say that they like my work, but it can be heartbreaking when they don't. Yeah, this is kind of, I don't know how long I'm going to carry on doing this afternoon. See, normally I would just carry on drawing this for hours on end, but I'm aware that nobody's ever going to watch the entirety of one of my drawing streams. I also realise that I've probably run out of interesting anecdotes now. I quite like listening to Keith Olbermann's podcast. And Keith Olbermann has obviously had a very busy life, very successful life working in American TV and American news. Mainly American sports journalism, but more recently political news. And he does a political podcast where he talks about the media. And he often tells stories from his life. And he has amazing stories to tell, like about great figures in American journalism. But now listened to so many of his podcasts that I know all his anecdotes. Not only do I know all his anecdotes, I know which anecdote he's about to tell based on how he mentions somebody. And I figure, like, if he's now running out of anecdotes, then somebody like me is absolutely buggered, because I don't have many interesting anecdotes. I have a few, but I'll get around to telling them if I do enough of these, based on my readership of listener or viewership of 0 people so far. I'm talking to myself now. I've been talking to myself for the last 1 hour and 25 minutes. First sign of going mad, isn't it? Try talking to yourself. My chair doesn't have squeak as I move. Yeah, I'm liking this cartoon. This is turned into a bit of a favourite. Oh no, Jeremy's dead. I'm going to move that a little bit to the left. Oops. Why is that not? Oh, because I've not selected that. Hang on. Let's start again. Move that one. Grab the right tool. Pull it to the left. Again. Oh no, Jeremy's dead. That's better. Oh, I need to do that as well. That looks awful. I don't know how that's happened. Simply because I can, rather than because at this stage I should. I think I'm just going to finish with a little bit of crosshatching, just to see if I can make these alien heads look suitably alien headish. My plan is to leave an area of highlighting around the centre, kind of. Might even leave 2. I must admit, this is always one of the hardest things to do, I find, is kind of try to get specular highlights on a slightly cylindrical or curved surface. Yeah, that looks okay. I'm going to go onto a separate layer just in case this next layer makes a mess of it. Let's see how that looks. My capture device doesn't seem to be lagging as much. I'm trying to keep an eye on it because it crashed after an hour and a half yesterday. I'm just trying to keep an eye on it to see whether there's an actual problem with it or it was a one-off. I'm still at the stage of seeing whether this machine is going to hold up for a few months. There is a reason I stopped using it, other than like my life completely collapsing when my mum got ill, but I was on its last legs. It seems to have been on its last legs for about the last 6 years. I keep telling people I'm going to get a new one, but never get around to doing it. Although recently I have started to look at cases. I have dreams about building a new machine. Price of graphics cards is astronomical at the moment. I think they've always been astronomical because of the they're using Bitcoin mining. They went very dear, but I haven't decided whether I need one. I think I probably do, because I would like to get into video editing more. At the moment, these videos are just really, really amateur. May even get back into podcasting, I don't know. Certainly need it for publishing. There's no way at the moment I can... yeah, that looks okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back in, see if I can just make that bottom edge really, really dark. A bit of scribbling. See how that looks. Closer, the darker it goes, the more you can scribble. But as soon as you move away from the utter darkness, you do need to have a little bit of control over your crosshatching, I find. And then where it's very light, you do want to maintain the kind of regularity. So again, over here I can scribble in the periphery. Don't want to do it completely, because you want to also have a hint of it. You don't want to just make a thicker black line, but you just want to have a sense of it almost reaching darkness. And then as you come away, just add a little bit of regularity with the cross-hatching. And it just fades it a little bit. It's a bit like smudging. If you were doing this with a pencil, you might smudge it with a finger. Quite pleased with that. Looks pretty decent. Let's just clean that up there. And then do the same. I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to do 2 areas of highlight, I think. Kind of just how does that look? Back down to that layer. You don't need to do all this on different layers. I just like to switch between layers just to make sure, like, if something really doesn't work, I can just okay, why is that not suddenly? Did they have some? Oh, I'd like to add some white on that layer, that area. I think working digitally also is a little bit of a crutch for me, because I know I can afford to make mistakes without it becoming a real nightmare to fix them. If I was working in real media, I would probably be working in pencil a lot, and then making terrible mistakes with my dip pen. Dip pens can be there's a whole art to using a dip pen, because they so easily leak. If you overload them. And liquid ink, when you get it on the page, I mean, it's not even just the pen. Just reaching across a picture, you can so easily just have a trailing cuff or something. Brush against a still wet line and the entire thing gets dragged across the page and you end up with a huge mark and basically destroy an entire illustration with thoughtless movement of the arm. I've done that too often. So that's why I work digital. I really admire anybody who can work in real ink. Time for some coffee. Oh, I do like real coffee because it tastes even nicer when it goes cold. Wish I could have gone back to that coffee shop this week. There was a really nice coffee shop in Warrington. That's now going to become my regular. We had some gorgeous coffee. It's the one in the, I don't know if you know Warrington. Nobody's listening, so nobody does. Well, I do, so, and I'm the only listener, so. The old TJ Hughes building. Don't know what his name is. We're passionate for coffee. Had that on the wall, but I don't know what the name of the store is. Yeah. So there we go. Go on, I'll do another one. I was going to have a break, but I think we'll do these up here. I'm slowly faced by the prospect that I need to think of something else interesting to say. Obviously, as you move perspective on the creature's head, the placement of the highlights will change. So here I've kind of taken them more over the top of the head. I don't know if there's much of an art to this. Maybe it's just a knack you pick up, or whether it's just confidence that you, as long as you make a decision and execute it with confidence, it'll read correctly on the page. But I always used to stare at Robert Crumb's cartoons in which he used to draw shoes, because he'd always managed to convey the shine to a pair of black shoes so well. And, I used to try to emulate it, and I don't think I ever have. And I'm not sure it's whether the technique was wrong, or whether it was just like the way I did it conveyed my lack of confidence in the method. And you could, when you looked at the shoes that I'd drawn, they read as though they were like by somebody lacking in confidence. But I'm just going to make this Aries a little bit less white. It's not bad. Something I like to do when I cross-hatching occasionally as well is try to break up my lines. Instead of drawing one single line, I try to make it slightly more like a dotted line, or sequences of 3 dots and dashes, and you don't want to be too uniform that it becomes predictable. So yeah, that route. Yeah, that's okay. Although it looks maybe not. Does it look a little bit too much like two ridges? Might take that one out there. Might be a bit better. More of a hint towards one of them. I think I'm going to put the lighter area slightly to the right. I've been thinking about getting a new PC, but I'm like wondering whether I don't quite know what specifications I need these days. I like to try to future-proof myself, so I tend to get more than I ever need at the moment. But since it's going to take quite a few months to build it, the last thing I'll ever buy would be a graphics card for it. But I don't know whether I need an ATI one or an NVIDIA, because if I want to do lots of graphics software, I don't know how well they run on an NVIDIA hardware. The difficulty I had with Photoshop when I took out a subscription to Photoshop once was that it just hated ATI, my mobile ATI graphics setup. So I'm kind of tempted just to sort of bite the bullet at some point and accept that I'm going to have to probably buy an expensive NVIDIA card. I'm pretty certain I'll go with an ATI chipset. I'd quite like to go for the newer chipsets because my PCs tend to last me many, many years. I mean, this one is 14 years old, so I like the next one to... I don't want to be replacing it in 12 months. So, here we go. Let me just finish off with a bit of darkness, and then I'm going to leave this for the moment. I don't know whether to kind of work on these when I'm not doing a stream, because like I said with the previous one, there is a point where it just becomes tedious crosshatching. I don't think anybody remotely interested in watching crosshatching. I mean, I would be interested in watching crosshatching, but maybe I don't. Just struggling to find a way to make these streams exciting and filled with action as I repetitively draw the same kind of line again and again and again. Should I learn to sing or something? Front of his alien's head's probably going to be a little bit more in darkness like that. Right. That is 1 hour and 43 minutes, and that's as much of a cartoon as I can probably draw in 1 hour and 43 minutes. If there's anybody watching, or everybody comes back and watches this later on, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it somewhat entertaining. And thank you. Send your comments, emails to me via Twitter, where I'm David Waywell, or you can email me at waywellcartoons@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you later.